Hello Rover fans. Today is a fun day. It should be a fun day. Might also be a day of crying, but it's one of those jobs that I love and hate in equal measure, and that is fitting the stainless steel rain channel trims. So all along the side of the car you have that return so the rain can drain off the roof and go down the pillars, and it gets covered with these trims which clip on to that rail. It can be a bit of a fight depending on what's happened to the car in the past. The side of this car has had some repairs, so the rain channel along there was replaced, and I think a bit down the bottom at the front, and then I think the body shop might have put a tiny bit of filler on it as well in a few places, which means that it's not an original shaped lip anymore. This is let's go outside so you can see it end on, but that there clips underneath after you've put that little flange on the top of the lip. So you've put that on the top and then roll this down and under, and then that little bead engages. The problem with these is that they are very thin, and just walloping it with your hand will dent them, so you have to be super careful. So I've done this a few times and I've had quite good successes, but they've also gone incredibly wrong in the past and I've ended up ruining some. What I've also learned is that it can be quite variable how the end is finished. It should be stamped and rolled over, but sometimes that sits further proud than you would imagine, and it's really easy when fitted for that to bite into the lovely paintwork and score it and then start rust again. So what I always do is take a sander and just sand that bottom corner off, so there's a bit more clearance between the trim down here and the roof pillar. It doesn't affect how this operates because the rain is actually running down that channel. It's not running on this surface, so removing material isn't going to do anything. So I shall get the sander out, nip that off, then I will mask up the car because it's also very easy to scratch your paint. I've just given the end of this a tickle with a sanding disc on a grinder, and I shall show you a bit of a before and after. This is an original unmolested one, and you can see how close that gets to the bodywork. It's like a couple of millimeters off. This is the one that I've just given a tickle. You can see I've not taken loads off. It's now just parallel all the way along. It doesn't curve in towards the bodywork. This just means that you can be a tiny little bit not less careful, but you don't have to worry so much about digging into the paint there. And it's stupid things like if somebody bumps or leans against the car in a weird way and pushes that onto the bodywork, it cuts and marks it, and then you're, you know, got a catalyst for rust to start. So I will go and mask up the car, and then we can have a go at playing it. The front one isn't an issue because it stands quite a long way from the A-pillar, and one thing I never knew until I'd done it a few times myself is that this centre join clips on at the end. You don't have to worry about linking the front and rear sections together and then offering it up to the car in one assembly. If they go on separate, and that bit just clips on at the end. Lashings of masking tape and bubble wrap all along here, try and keep the scratches off. I have in my hand some built handbar Dynax UC. The UC stands for underbody clear, and this is actually one that you would put on the underside of a car, like in suspension components and things. I'm going to use it in that rain channel because when the chrome trim is on, it's a little bit harder to get in there. So I'm just going to apply that along there, and then I will also be applying it to the back side of the chrome trim. Here it is, and that will, I'll brush paint that on so it doesn't get everywhere. I'll spray it in a tub and then brush paint it on. That will do two things. One is this invariably will scratch the paint as it goes on, just because that little edge on the back is so sharp. It will take the lip of the paint off on the rain channel. So it will fill in any bits where the paint has been removed, preventing rust, I hope. And the other thing is it will act as a lubricant until it goes off, until the sort of accelerants or gas that propels it out of the can has evaporated off. So it basically means we should be good for a few years without rust developing behind it. They don't generally rust unless someone's done really something stupid, but you know, belts and braces and all that good stuff. So I shall spray a load in here, paint it on the back of that thing, and then in that, in the rain channel as well. It also smells absolutely delicious, which is nice. It doesn't damage paintwork, which is good. It'll come off with panel wipe if you have any overspray. We'll get that in there. A bit will probably run out the bottom, but I'm not too fussed. I'd rather have it running out and me having to clean it up than not protected. Incidentally, I don't think they did this in the factory. They're obviously pretty confident that they weren't gonna wreck anything. Lovely stuff. Now the fun bit, that's all coated. I didn't bother painting inside the back of here because it'll just, you know, waste of stuff really. It's that blue surface we want to protect. This is going to be a two-handed job for me, but what I want to do is just check that the profile is about right. You can see there's a kink in it there. That's from dodgy storage, and that's pulled it in and down. So it needs a bit of massaging before it goes on the card, just because you don't know how it's been stored. So let's open that up, get that kink out, and try and bend it to about the right shape before I actually get part of it on the car and then end up with a fight I can't finish. So this is what I'm doing. That will probably spring back as soon as I release it, but can you see? Pushing, I can't do it one-handed, but basically that's the action. Well, you saw it fleetingly. I definitely need two hands for this. Okay, I've got it started. I've only done about that much. So you can see it's tight there and then moves away. So it's just a long, boring, fiddly process that wears your fingers out. I'm also using this windscreen tool just to add a tiny little bit of pressure here to help me roll it down and round all the way along. I'll put a bit of tape up there just to hold it in position. Okay, so we are up to about here now. I've realised that when I watch some of the videos back, you can't see because of the light coming through that window, but and I can't get the camera in the right position. It's rolled in and under to about there. So as I go along, all I'm doing is pushing down with my fingers and pushing under with my thumb. Don't try and do it in isolated spots. I have clipped that on just to stop it wiggling around, but I'll have to take it off when I get here because there's just such a big bow there. In fact, I've had it in the past, normally at the front, where I've just left it taped up for ages and then come back to it a few weeks later, and it's relaxed a little bit because sometimes they are just that much of a dick to get on. I haven't resorted to smacking it yet, but this really pisses me off. That is a brand new trim, but the way it's been stored, it's got all of these fret and chafe marks. So I'm gonna have to clean it and polish it up once it's on the car. Anyway, I'll carry on doing what I'm doing. Right, I was getting up to this area and I was having real trouble. I unpicked that end so that it would be a bit more flexible. So I'm not too bothered about the curve, but the problem I've discovered is there's a big gob of filler along there. Don't know whether you can see it, but basically there, that's all sticking out. So I'm gonna have to get a chisel or something and just sand that back so that I've got a chance of getting this on. That was easy. I just ran that screwdriver along, it just crumbled off. So there's a few bits of filler dust. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to prevent these seals from going on. Trims, whatever you want to call them. Back to work. We are on. From rear to top. There was one bit along here which was a right dick, so I had to resort to this dead blow hammer. It's one of those that sounds like a kiddie rattle because it's got fiberglass balls in it or something, and it shocks things. Don't hit the curved bit, just hit the lip, and you can use it to push it on. Ideally you won't have to resort to that, but whew. I'm talking as if I'm talking to Gary, my friend, who helped me with the stickers for the other cars. He kind of asked, because he is going to have to do this job soon, and he wanted to know what it's like. So yeah, it's horrible, but never mind. Right, we'll go and get the front trim out. It sits down here at the bottom, obviously comes up, and it should end just short of there, but sometimes they don't, sometimes they're long. So again, before we start fitting it, make sure it's shorter, and you end up with a gap here. And if it looks like it's going to be tight, get a sander and sand the end of this one off, so you don't end up with a horrible problem here whereby you've got all that on looking lovely and then it won't sit over that one. This is what I'm talking about. So that's about the right length down there. You don't want it anywhere close to that door because you'll scratch it. Up here, that curve is in about, oh shit, that was so close. That curve is in about the right place, but up here we are a tad too long. So I need to take this outside and sand, what's that, 4mm off, maybe a little bit more. So we'll go and do that, hopefully without scratching anything. Move the masking tape along, put a bit more down there. A bit more bubble wrap. And fortunately avoided scratching the paint, which is good. That's the other reason I'm doing this now, because if I do scratch the paint, it can hopefully be addressed in a sympathetic way when it goes back to the body shop to have a few finishing touches completed. And otherwise, if I did this right at the end and then I ruined it, I would be very pissed off. So I've got this one started, just pushed on around there. I'm happy it's going to finish short up there, so that's all right. And that bend is in about the right place, so we should be good. Guess what? Despite doing all that measuring, I've still finished long up here. So I'm gonna have to get a hacksaw and just chop the end off. So I've got my trusty t-shirt protecting the paint on the roof. Frustrating. Goodie, and that is on. And then the last bit of these joiner pieces, and this is why I'm saying don't worry about chopping these short. That clips on there and then tucks under. I just want to remind myself if there's a particular point at which it finishes. Was it directly above that A post? Sorry, B post. So that one finishes, yeah, about centre with that plastic bit. And it is, yeah, about the same on this side. So that is what we will go for. Ow, bastard fucking thing. Being bitten by a bush. Yeah, so that'll work. That'll go there. So feed it on at the top. Clips on. And that is one side of the car done. I just balanced this on here to remind myself where it finished here. Doesn't really matter too much unless you've got a Series 1 car with the little black rubber mirrors, in which case that piece continues all the way through to meet this. On the Series 2 with the bigger wing mirror, you don't have the need to do that. If you're interested, that's what I mean. So if you had a Series 1 with these mirrors, you would want that finishing at the same height as that. Was on mine, Series 2, it's not so critical to get it right. Okay, so that's one side done. Tomorrow I'll do the other side, but that's essentially it. Same process. It is frustrating. You will have very sore fingers. Don't hit it with your hand. Don't hit it with a hammer anywhere other than exactly on the lip. I might have put a couple of little dents in it here. In fact, yeah, I have, which is annoying, but fuck it. It's as good as I can get it. Once that's polished up, only an irritating spotter would know. So Jason, please don't come up to me at shows and tell me repeatedly. You can tell me quite a few times, but not every time. Cool. All right, see you later. Bye. I realised it would have been really rude if I'd signed off without actually showing you the finished result. So here you go. No dents along there whatsoever. Nothing up here. There's a bit of one there. And I don't think I did that. I think that's storage because I didn't have to hit this one. These are burnishing marks, they're not dents. That's just fretting where the thing has been badly stored and shipped. Got a nice big dent in the roof there. I don't know how. But yeah, we're looking good. Cool.